Today we are sponsored by Match Bingo. Whilst watching Premier League games, you can win cash prizes and support your favourite causes all on one app. Purchasing a £2 card on any football fixture gives you multiple ways of winning money. It's so simple, it's so easy to download, to create your Match Bingo account and to purchase their bingo cards. Watch your card automatically populate events that happen throughout the live fixture and win cash prizes by being the first to complete your card. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link below now to get involved with one of the best games available in the footballing world. Welcome back to the Top 6 show. It's Premier League match day, Europa League match day. There's transfer stories, manager stories. There's so much to get through. Hit the damn like button, people. Subscribe. Look at this panel tonight. It is epic. Igal, Rory. I'm so glad to see Tom Little here. He's disappeared after a few Liverpool defeats and losing out on Almiron as well. But he's finally stopped crying. I can just imagine what it was like. Remember that scene in Twilight where Edward leaves and whatever her name was, Belle was sitting in her bedroom crying her eyes out while the seasons changed? That was Tom over Almiron. We've got Chatty Patty in the house, who is not wearing his Arsenal kit, but we will send that to him for a show soon. Henry Wright is in the house, and Man Like CB, a.k.a. Don's Kryptonite, is in the house with us. How are you, gentlemen? You all good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How you doing?
You need Colleen on the stream for the day that Patrick wears the Arsenal kit. Because she made her Spurs kit.
Yeah,
I don't know how I got talked into that bet, by the way. I shouldn't.
Did you bet on Tottenham finishing above Arsenal?
No. We had a bet, me and Dio, about who would win the game. And unfortunately, obviously, Arsenal won it. So, yeah, I got drawn out. I should have just... Yeah, I never... Anyway.
Yeah. Was it you that said Arsenal wouldn't finish with more than 10 points than Spurs this season?
Nah, I never said that.
Someone did, but but what we'll do, we're actually going to save it until we're in one of our new studios, and we'll get him in person to do it on 4K cameras.
Teddy, people have been following me on every stream. I know I said it, and I'm going to do it. So yeah,
he will do it. He will do it. We've got to do it at the right time. We've got to do it at the right time. There's no doubt about it. Terry is disrespectful. No City fan on the panel. I mean, there's multiple City fans in the Top 6 group chat. They just decide not to come on. That no one's forced to. You know what I mean, it's Rahman. Speak to them. They don't want to rep their club. I don't know. It's crazy. And yes, Patrick is going to wear the Arsenal kit. We will get that done on another day and on another show. Gents, there is a lot to get through tonight. I wanted to start with one of the biggest bits of news circulating today out of Italy, that Antonio Conte has offered himself to Chelsea again. There are other reports saying Chelsea would be open to this. I believe some have shut it down, but it does sound like it's an ongoing story, CB. What's your thoughts on potentially having Antonio Conte back managing your team?
I wouldn't be here for it, just off the fact that he sued the club before. The moment you've done that, you know what I'm saying, my hands were I've washed my hands with you. Now, I am happy that we are winners, proven winners, want to join the club. You know, he plays a back three. I think we were suited to a back three system anyway. So in terms of those aspects, yeah, but just off the fact that you sued the club, you went to Spurs, you ain't got my respect. I can't take you back, I'll be honest with
you. Yeah, I mean, I hear it. Because I mean, obviously the fact is, you know, I mean, we've taken a few ex-Chelsea managers now, and like once Poch went to you guys, I'd never want him back either. So I definitely hear it. And then I even forgot about the sued the club thing. Also, his last few stints haven't been great as well. I don't know if he'd be the man for Chelsea right now. Yes, he's a proven winner. Yes, he's militant. Yes, he would get rid of the crap. But we all know what happens when Conte doesn't get his way. And is he really the man to see through another project?
It's not the right time, is it?
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
They need a manager who's got like a track record of progressing young players, playing a good style of football. Conte would come in and when you've got a side that's worth winning the league title. That's when you bring a manager like Conte in. You win a league, and then 6 months after that, he probably leaves and destroys the football club. But I don't think Conte right now is suited for Arsenal at all. Like in terms of the way, not Arsenal, sorry, Chelsea. In terms of the way they play, the players they've got, they haven't really got any like stars in there. That he's a bit of an ego manager. When his ego's in the dressing room, Conte doesn't really like that, and they clash a lot. and he throws players under the bus. I don't think he's right for Chelsea one bit.
One thing I would say though, in terms of I think we do need a manager who's not a yes man. It was reported the other day that Pochettino has no say in terms of his transfers, incomings, outgoings, etc. And I see the epic speech that Conte done against Southampton last year, where he was like, the ownership, they don't want to win. It's in their culture. They don't expect to win. Now, having a manager, I would love for Pochettino to step forward and crash it on the directors and the owners and so forth. He does it in his own little sly, meticulous ways, but he's never just going out there and just letting them have it. So if he was to have a manager like that, I would love it. But like you said, Henry, I don't think he's the team that we currently have. No, I think Conte is the type of gaffer. He's gonna go to Atalanta and get a 36-year-old right wing back, and he just and then wait, he's on our books for 4 years because of that, and it's just long, man.
I look at Conte, and I know the phrase is quite contemporary around the win now manager, but he is that. He's someone who needs a squad that's close to being good enough to win, or has got the age profile to be able to manage them. I think with a young, inexperienced, and a somewhat unbalanced squad that you have, even with the summer of buying some stars, he is not going to like it. You look at Spurs last year, Spurs wanted Spence. Everyone's raving about him. I was really excited to see him play for Spurs. Conte's like, I ain't playing this kid. He isn't the profile that I need. And I just think looking at Chelsea right now, the last thing they need, it isn't they don't need a winner. I don't think they need someone like Antonio Conte. I don't think they need a Jose Mourinho. They've got to try and get this right. But there is a lot of talk now that Poch might stay, but it does feel that it's centering around 2 or 3 more of the final games of the season, which I don't know about you, Agal. Is that a strange way you think to run a club in the sense of they should either be backing Poch no matter what or getting rid of him? They can't be looking at these last 2 or 3 games of the season and acting like that's the catalyst, that's the deciding factor, surely.
They're buying their time, Terry. They're buying their time. They're trying to see if there's any form of light at the end of the tunnel. And if they were to sack him today, I don't think they have a plan. There doesn't seem to be any succession plan in place. And it doesn't look like they've been actually put anything in place to have somebody else replace him yet. And in the short term, who would they even get? We're hearing rumors that if he was sacked, it would be John Terry coming in. That doesn't breed confidence into the fan base. So they're better off waiting until the summer, sacking him then, and then bringing in somebody that would actually get a whole preseason. Because if they bring in somebody now, whoever they bring in, I don't think the season's going to end well. So they're just trying to bide their time. And this is an opportunity where if Pochettino can maybe turn their fortunes around, get them a European place, that might be a little bit more positive than where they are right now. But hey, that's all I think the only reason why they would do that, Terry. But overall, nobody can tell me Chelsea has a plan because they haven't shown any level of structure or planning in their decisions. From sacking Tuchel to bringing in Graham Potter to signing a bunch of players that are experienced under Tuchel to signing in a bunch of young players without experience, too much experience coming in, to now letting some of your players go on loan that would have been very useful to you and not letting certain players that are past their best not go on loan. So hey, that's my
I don't know Chelsea's plan. Chelsea are trying to do a project and they're not trusting any manager with the project because they are operating with almost a win now mentality. Ultimately, when you look at the players they've bought, when you look at the state of the squad, it is going to take more than 1 year to turn this group into a group that is knowing of what a Chelsea of the past has been, of title challengers, of cup winners. This Chelsea squad isn't that. If they were to sack Pochettino, you're restarting that process all over again. They might go for Amorim. Amorim might go there. Is either like he fits the age profile of the players. He's a young manager with a young group of players. Maybe that's what they want to go for. But they need to eventually, and it has to be sooner rather than later, find a manager that they trust through the good and the bad.
Tom, you said something though. Chelsea are not win now. Chelsea are win 4 years down the road. That's the team that they're building. They're not building a win now team. None of their signings show me that they're trying to win now. All their signings, they're going to take 3 years down the road.
The point of a project manager, in a sense, is to develop the players in his image. Pochettino has done a year of developing some of these players. If Amorim comes in now, he plays a completely different system to what Poch does. Therefore,
No.
these players who are young and moldable are now having to do a different sort of thing. Let's say a year down the line, it doesn't work out with Amarin for whatever reason, and they bring in another one. Then these young players are doing it again and again and again.
The problem is, though, is they've already made that mistake, though. And this is why I think they've already made that mistake, Chelsea, as far as I can tell. And CB, I know, has done a lot of research into this, but there's a lot of reports that Poch has had almost no say on any of the players coming in and out. Is that fair to say, CB? Pretty much. So if he's got no say in the players, and then when you listen to the stories, it sounds very much like he's not really kind of into a lot of the players. They're not really the kind of profiles that he wants. Now, it's a mistake from him to join a project where he gets no say in the players, and the players that are coming in and going are players that he either doesn't want to buy and doesn't want to let go. We know that with Conor Gallagher, whether you rate him or not, he doesn't want him to leave, but the club has been touting him out. That, for me, is a relationship of oil and water. It's never going to be conducive. You're never going to yield strong and consistent results. It's fine to have a club project, but you have to pick a coach and a manager that looks at the profile of player you're buying, looks at the style of football that you want as a club and says, I love that. That's what I want. Because then it doesn't matter whether he has a real input in who's coming in and who's leaving, because they see football in the same way. That's the only way you make it work. It's like I said before, if you look at Ajax, say the Dutch league suddenly got money, they would never hire a Simeone. They would never hire a Jose Mourinho, because the type of football they play, the type of profile they have, does not match that manager. And I look at what Chelsea have done, and it almost feels to me like the big elephant in the room that a lot of Chelsea fans are ignoring. It's not about whether Poch has control or not. It's about the fact that it appears what they're buying and what they're building as a club doesn't match him as a manager. So why the hell is he there anyway? I then look at Antonio Conte. Unless Chelsea are about to change it all again, that's another reason why that would be stupid, because he doesn't want to work for a club where he doesn't get to pick his own players. He's a bit more of an old school manager, and Chelsea have got to decide quickly how they want to operate, and they need to get all their ducks in a row, because it's very disjointed at that football club at the moment. Conte, Poch, it doesn't really matter who. If there isn't cohesion between all those departments, I know for a fact it will fail, because that's what Man United have done for a decade, and guess what? We've failed for a decade. So they've really got to address all of that. I don't know if that rings true to you, CB, as a Chelsea fan. I'm not trying to put words in Chelsea fans' mouths, but that's how I see it.
100%. Everything you're saying is spot on, especially if Pochettino is to be sacked. I think the directors need to lose their jobs as well. Also, I'm not trusting them with another management hire, because they were brought in January. Christopher Vivell, Paul Winstanley, Lawrence Stewart, with the task of finding a midfield partner for Enzo Fernandez, which they brought Caicedo, overpaid for that. In my opinion, I would have went for Declan Rice. I think that suits them stylistically more. As a pivot, I don't think they work together. And it was to find a manager, a long-term manager for this system. They spoke to Nagelsmann and Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique had a 6-hour meeting doing a PowerPoint presentation and so forth. They had a meeting with Nagelsmann. Christopher Vivell was pushing for Nagelsmann. They didn't want to give Luis Enrique or Nagelsmann the control that they would have liked in terms of outgoings, certain players being dropped, etc., incomings in the squad. So then our final three was Onslaught, who's now at Liverpool, Vincent Kompany, and Pochettino. In my opinion, I think we chose the best out of the three at the time. You could say what you want about Onslaught. I'm a PREMTARD, if I'm being honest with you guys. I don't watch Eredivisie. I'm not sitting there watching Feyenoord for 30 games to give you a review on Onslaught. So I'm just being honest with you. I think we chose the best choice with Pochettino. But now I look at it. I
want to start you saying a PREMTARD.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said PREMTARD.
What does that mean? Does that mean you only watch the Prem?
I only watch the Prem, yeah, and Champions League.
But let's be honest. Most people support Premier League team. That's 95% of them pretty much only watch the Premier League. Most people pretend to watch all the other leagues.
Yeah, that's just standard. I don't have to sit here and lie to you. I didn't watch 30 games of Feyenoord to let you know what Onslaught's pattern of play is. All the Liverpool fans are doing that nowadays. Well, let's be honest with you. You just got a chubby Ten Hag. Anyway, in terms of the management situation, I'm looking at it. Why should I trust you guys to hire another manager when you brought in Pochettino, who doesn't even fit the players you guys have stylistically? Anyway, if we have a team that's built for the zesty, the zerby, positional play. The tacticals like to call it jogo de position, zone 19, half turn, inverted, all of this stuff. That's the team we've built. So why would you give us a Pochettino whose emphasis is on road running and distance covered and etc.? It makes no sense. So then I'm going to trust you guys again to pick another manager after what you guys have just done, after you showing that your insistence on having control, where I look at Lawrence Stewart's experience. Everyone used to say, yeah, he came from Monaco. I thought he came from the Monaco where Bernardo Silva and Mbappe and all of them guys got developed from. He came from the Monaco team that almost got relegated with Badiashile and Disasi as their centre-back pairing. And then I look at Win Stanley, who prior to Brighton, he was at Wigan. So I'm like, what qualifies these guys to have so much emphasis on control over managers who have proven to win before in the past? It makes no sense to me.
When do you actually think like you'll see success? Because the way you're going with managers, there seems to be no plan. Like from the academy to the first team, you're not really given a huge amount of players. Game times, I think that right back, is it Gil, whatever his name is, Chris, or whatever. He's been given a few games here or there. But when do you actually think the ownership will get it right? Because the way you're being run, the way the manager's losing relationships with players, the way you're so reliant on certain players in the team, when do you actually think the ownership will get it right? Or do you think they just won't? It would just be a circus for a few years?
If I'm being honest with you, that's a very good question. I don't see any pathway to success under this model, under this under 25s model, where I know a lot of people say to me, okay, you're very critical on the under 25s model, but your best players this season are Palmer and Gusto, who are 20 and 21 years old. That's a fair point. But I look at Palmer. The reason why Palmer stands out is because Palmer's come from a dressing room where the likes of Haaland, KDB, Bernardo Silva, top players with top mentalities are there, as opposed to, you know, the likes of Enzo, who was in what, River Plate. Look at Caicedo, who was with Lewis Dunk and Mitoma. Mudryk, God knows who he played with. You know what I'm saying?
So if you bring in a better manager, let's say you bring in a manager who's got a track record for building teams with a winning mentality, do you think those mentalities in the dressing room change?
Personally, no, I don't. I think our best bet in terms of success is if one of the young players that we've signed, Andre Santos, and Enzo, for example, develops crazily similar to what Palmer's done, where he's exceeded everyone's expectations, and we're like, okay, wow, we could do something. However, I don't want to be too much of a pessimist, because you could argue, even though we're in the sewers, we went to a semi-final of the FA Cup. It was in the Carabao Cup final. Let's not kid ourselves. We haven't won the league or competed for the league since 2017. But what's one thing that has remained is we've been a cup team. We've always been a cup team. We had Champions League runs, FA Cup runs under Tuchel, etc. And we've done okay in the domestic competitions, if I'm being honest with you. So I do feel like if a top manager was to come in terms of the options out there, if it's not Thomas Tuchel or Ruben Amorim, we're screwed, in my opinion. I don't see. I like Ruben Amorim just off the back three. Same to Tuchel. I think we're a back three team in terms of defensively, how we're more sound. I think we can go on a nice cup run. As for competing for the title, I don't see a pathway for success for a long time. We have not improved over the last couple of years. I think we've even stagnated. We finished 12th last year. Fair enough, we're 9th now. But there's not been any progress, and I don't see it happening anytime soon.
I think you're a top half team now. Europa League next year, maybe. Hunt for Conference League, Europa League, top half now.
That's a tough one. But I was just
don't know if they can play in the Europa League. I mean, I know that the FFP, they're probably going to avoid profit and sustainability losses, but they're 157% overspending to be able to qualify and play under this new 70% rule in Europe. So honestly, but with Chelsea, they might make Europe. That might be the worst thing for them next year financially. So I think they're better off avoiding it, if I'm being honest. But sorry, Gal, you were going to say something, brother.
I was just going to say Chelsea's only way of success is going back to signing some win now players, because with all the experience, with the young players that you have, you need at least a couple sprinkles of experienced players that can help guide these players through. So you can't wait until Cole Palmer turns 25, 26 for your team to be ready to win now. You need a couple key pieces. Now that Thiago Silva is potentially leaving, you got Conor Gallagher leaving also in the summer potentially. You're going to have a lot of these players, maybe even Chilwell or Reece James leaving the summer. You need more experienced players to come in. And if those experienced players can be match winners and game changers, that are already at the top level, you could see yourself rise up quite quickly. It's just the quality that you sign can no longer be 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. It needs to be game changers, winners, and people who've been at the top level.
But Igal, if I'm being honest with you, I don't see that happening anytime soon. I don't know if you guys are aware. Our wage bill is capped now at 150k a week. So in terms of signing the creme de la creme top players, that's not happening. Arsenal offer higher wages. Havertz is the highest earner in your team.
Do you think they're going to change that, though? Do you think they'll change that for the likes of... Because you guys are linked to, like, Victor Osimhen. You're linked to Ivan Toney today. Those guys aren't signing for £150,000 a week. So do you think Clear Lake are going to break that rule in CB? Because the likes of, like, Chairs and Don in the group chats think it will be broke. A lot of Chelsea fans online think it's nonsense. Like, what's your response to that?
Initially, I thought so. I thought we was planning to change that. We tried to do a campaign on Chelsea Twitter called #ChangeTheModel, where we was we're talking about the impact on the model and so forth. It did okay. Simon Phillips reported that the model has been changed. However, Ornstein has come back and rebutted that and said, actually, I have not heard anything of the model changing. And quite frankly, those upstairs are actually happy with what they've done with the model because the standout players have come from that model. The under 25s, young players, for example, Cole Palmer, our best player on the team, is on a 75k a week. He's nowhere near the highest earners. He's here for the 8 years. It's just, I don't see us getting any top players without any Europe and we're not offering high wages. That's just not happening. And I've come to terms with that. I've gone through all the emotions of a Chelsea, of just realizing this situation. I was on the super deluded, oh yeah, bring me this player, we're gonna do this and that. And now I've really understood what the situation is. Until big changes get made, our fan base using our voices, or an absolute top gaffer comes and performs a miracle, we're stuck here for a good 3-4 years, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, throwing that out to Patrick. I mean, if they can't sign players on more than 150k a week, I know it's a lot of money to you and me, but that even limits you in terms of in a year's time. If Cole Palmer repeats this season again, there's no way he's sitting there without his agent pushing for a bigger contract because he's going to have every club in the world, if he has 2 seasons at this level, saying, we'll pay you $250 million a week, 300 grand a week. And then Chelsea could be in a situation, not only are they not signing top players, but their better players then get disgruntled because they're on these long 8-year deals and now they can get 300 grand if they leave. And couldn't that create even more problems for Chelsea, Patty?
Yeah, 100%. Cole Palmer being on 75k is madness, but it makes sense in a sense of he needed to get away from City. He needed regular game time. Chelsea are an established and a good club by name and tradition. So 75k for a youngster is decent. But if he's having the season he's having now and he knocks on the door and says, I need at least 150, you have to give it to him. And then obviously say, for example, I don't know, Enzo, theoretically, or Caicedo, or whoever has another good seat or has a good season, and then they start knocking on the door and saying, no, we need, you've given Cole Palmer 200k, I need this, that. It just creates uncertainty and disgruntlement behind closed doors or in the dressing room. But the thing is, everything that CB says is bang on. Like, to attract the top players without Champions League football and without European football, you need to pay the money. The good thing for Chelsea is that they are an established team. They're in London. They come with the glitz and the glamour and the history. So as long as the coach that they have can sell the player the project, they can probably get one up on other clubs in and around that position, the 7th, your 8th, your 9th. But it's tough because the top clubs is in the top 3, Chelsea, Arsenal, City and Liverpool are streets ahead in terms of wage structure, managers. Maybe not, we'll see what happens with Arne Slot, but typically, and obviously Arteta, and their process where they are, the football they play. So there's a lot that a player is going to look at. But a young player who's obviously just kind of caught the attention of the bigger clubs and needs a platform, Chelsea is a good place to go to, as long as you don't sign a crazy contract. Because if Cole Palmer's on
bro.
You are not really, not for a good player. If you're a good player,
Chelsea's a healthy environment. Come on.
It depends. If at the end of the day, if you're a good player and you can obviously just buckle down and not get distracted, as in Gusto and Palmer, you can do what you need to do.
It's good for
as
you.
Long as you're guaranteed minutes.
Patrick, you see what the problem is? You see what the problem is? You look at the players that we have signed from the outside looking in. For starters, you're a director. I've given you 1 billion budget. At the end of the day, I say what I say about the owners for the model, whatever. I've given you a £1 billion budget. You didn't target the creme de la creme under 25s. Rodrigo, Vinny Jr., Jude Bellingham, Musiala, Declan Rice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The best of the best under 25s. You didn't do that, but you paid a premium price for these players. Now, what my first red flag when I realized these players might not be as good as I thought they were, because if you're being signed for 100 million and you're getting slapped on an 8-year deal, why are you accepting 120k a week or 150k a week and you're a marquee £100 million signing? What we're paying for at the end of the day is what we're what we're receiving is what we shopped for. For example, Jackson missing sitters in the FA Cup semi-final. Shocker, we spent 30 million on a Villarreal striker. Second striker.
30 million, sorry to cut your CB, but 30 million for Jackson is a bit different to a Caicedo. With a Caicedo and an Enzo, you paid for future potential and you bet big, hoping that they would reach the level that they've shown in some games. At the moment, it's not stood. Cole Palmer's a great one because he has essentially not the level. Obviously, he can still get better and better, but he's already shown a level where most people say, you know what, we can see what he's about. But you've bet big and you've put all your chips on the table. So you just better hope and pray these ones come off.
But what CB's saying, I didn't even think about it from that angle. Yes, you pay big money for these players and their potential. You're right, Patty. But then the wages you're giving them are not reflective. If you went to Real Madrid now, what's the name of that young Brazilian they just bought? Enric. So if you went to them now and you worked out a transfer fee to bring him over to the Premier League, you know that to do that and take him away from Real Madrid, you're going to have to pay him 200, 250, 300 grand a week. If you went and got any of the other young, like if you went and got Mbappe when he was 18 or 19, if you look how much Jude Bellingham's getting paid, who's still only very, very young. How old is Jude Bellingham now? I want to say he's 20. But I could be wrong.
21 max.
20. You look at the money that he's earning, the creme de la creme young players are asking for a lot more than 75,000, 80,000, 100,000 pound a week. I never even thought about it from that. I know they've got long 8-year deals, etc. But yeah, it's an interesting one. But
Terry, Enzo's on 180. Enzo's on 180. Cancedo's on 150. So they're probably on the higher end of these players.
The higher end, yeah, and that's pretty high. But that's also why when I hear people say I don't judge Enzo on his market value, I judge him on like where on his transfer fee. I'm like, but if you pay any young player, the thing with Enzo is he ain't that young either. Like Enzo's one of the guys I don't look at as a young player. He's 23, turning 24, and he's played 200 games in his career. That's not a young player. That's not an inexperienced young player. He's probably the higher end of that. But yeah, Chelsea's situation looks mad. There is a report today that you are looking at a new goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford, CB. Jordan Pickford coming in.
Don't forget,
I saw that and almost threw up, this morning. I saw that and I was sick to my stomach. Where have we fallen as a football club? Okay, we came from the likes here of having 8 national team captains in our starting 11. Courtois and Checkers are number 1 and number 2 to Jordan Pickford, bruv. At what point do we call this stuff out? And do you know why this is happening? Why we're being linked to so many, like, for example, the Jack Grealish links have been coming out, Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale. Because Conor Gallagher's leaving the club, this as Chelsea fans, you guys want Sterling sold, you want Gallagher sold, you want Chilwell sold, all English internationals. There's homegrown rules in Premier League clubs for a certain amount of homegrown players you need to have. If we know Gallagher's leaving, so now we need to replace him with an English international. Here comes the Jordan Pickford links, the Ramsdale links, the Grealish links, and everyone's upset. Oh, why are we not signing this guy? Oh, why not Musiala? Musiala's German. You know what I'm saying? Xavi Simons is from Netherlands. This isn't going to happen.
If you're Musiala, right, and you're one of the best talents in world football, why on earth would Chelsea what are we doing here? Like, Chelsea are never going to sign a Musiala in the state they're in right now.
Like, any player with ambition join Chelsea at the minute. Any ambition for success on the football pitch is not at Chelsea in the next 5 years. Thanks. Ambition for financial security and ambition for ensuring that you get paid a big bag for a long time, despite not having to do anything. That's why you go Chelsea. They'll give you an 8-year contract, no worries. If your ultimate end game is to just earn £100,000 a week, regardless of whether you're playing well or not, Chelsea's the place to go. But any young player with aspirations of achieving anything in football within the next 3-4 years, Chelsea is not the place to go because it's not built for winning. Like you said, Teddy,
No,
they're not even going to qualify for Europe, so European success isn't going to happen.
So are you
not winning
saying
the Prem.
could Chelsea turn into the next Everton?
Drag. Why'd you say, Igal? Remember
I'm
that
serious.
you guys are on a longer trophy track than us.
I'm
You
being
Arsenal
serious.
fans
I'm
start to
being
like it a
serious.
bit too much.
One
You know,
second.
two years
Everton's
ago,
a bit mad. Like Everton's a bit mad.
One second.
you guys start to
Based
milk it a bit too
on how
much.
you guys are speaking, how they're going to struggle to get managers that have quality, how they have a lot of players on high wages, and they might find themselves into a situation.
We don't have high wages.
Could this new ownership drag them to a situation where they turn into the next Everton based on the financial situation that they're going to have right now? Plus, if they don't sell a bunch of players, it could get worse. Going on to the next few seasons, I just see their quality of players getting worse every year. I haven't seen them improve.
I mean, listen, if you're talking about the Everton of the late 80s, early 90s and what they've become, I maybe wouldn't go that far in the sense of Chelsea look right now like they look through most of the Premier League era before Roman, where they've become a cup team. Like that's what I know. They haven't won any of these cups, but that's what Chelsea were good at. In my youth, Chelsea were that team that were they were never rubbish in the league. They could always give the big teams a good game. They would finish anywhere between sort of 4th and 8th, if my memory serves me right. But they would have a number of really good cup runs. That's where I don't think Chelsea will drop below that at this point. The only time they could go the route that Gal's talking about is if all this financial stuff goes wrong and there's big points deductions or anything along those lines. Before we get onto the games, there's a lot of stories around Chelsea today. Another one that's reared its head. And I suppose there may be some fear in this because of Clearlake's want to sell its academy players to raise the profit levels. But Levi Colwill to Liverpool is starting to be discussed again. Tom, would you take him at Liverpool? Is he the right kind of profile for your club?
It's hard to say because I don't know what the situation is with Van Dijk. If Van Dijk was eyeing up a move, then having that left-footed centre-back come in might be the correct move. I think it's a smart pickup by us if you can get him for a decent price. Homegrown, still got a age on his side. I do think he's been mismanaged a little bit by Pochettino this season. I don't think he's a left-back. I don't know why he played out there so long. He's clearly a very good player. I don't think Chelsea are going to let him go for cheap. So the price is going to play a big part. And even in the short term, provided Van Dijk stays here, can Colwill play on the right? Or are we going to move Van Dijk out of that left centre-back spot he's been in for 7 years? Is that the move we're going to do? Like, just on a short-term fit, I don't know how much sense it makes. I like him. I think he's a very good player. But I think if we were bringing a manager who plays with the back three, it would have made a lot more sense. He goes on the left, Van Dijk in the middle, and then a Konate or somewhere on the right. As it stands right now, I don't know if with the amount of positions we've got to address in the short term, we can justify a Colwill right now.
He's probably going to be a 50, 60 million pound player in his market as well. I don't think the way you're going, I don't think spending 60 odd million quid on a Colwill is the right way forward. Like, I don't think your centre back depth is absolutely horrendous. I think you will bring one in the summer, but I don't think Colwill at this moment is the right solution. Personally,
I just don't see that happening as well with Colwill. He signed a new contract last summer. If you're looking for a centre back from Chelsea, I've got Disasi for you, I've got Chalobah for you, and I've got Badger Shield for you. You pick your poison. In terms of Colwill, I don't think that's happening. But in terms of Colwill, it's crazy because his reputation prior to this season, when he was at Brighton coming into Chelsea, he was highly regarded, one of the best young centre-backs in the world to look at. And it's crazy how much his stock has fallen. And he's not the only one. You look at Mudryk prior to coming into Chelsea, we know he's dross. It is what it is. But look at that. Enzo, for example, held up, highly regarded. His stock's in the sewers. Caicedo stocks in the sewers. Sterling, the little reputation he had left, his stocks in the sewers. It's kind of mad. So then that kind of goes back to the point in terms of bringing in the best young players, Musiala, like what you said, Henry. Why would he come here? Colwill, if he was to leave, I think his rep will climb up again. But it's the version of Colwill that we all know now. You guys are saying, I don't even think.
I honestly think, like, not all jokes aside, I think Aston Villa right now with Emery are a hell of a lot more attractive than you. Like when you see players like Diaby leaving Leverkusen, when you see the likes of Bailey leaving the Bundesliga, look at the way they're potentially going to be in the Champions, well, they probably will be in the Champions League next year. I think I don't think you're like, you look at Chelsea the last decade, and going forward, I don't think you're an attractive football club at the moment, and I don't think you will be for a few years. Like,
I
there's no,
agree.
there's
That's
no
down to
plan whatsoever.
environment. That's down to environment. As CB said, all these players are getting worse, and people are looking at them, signing for big money, coming to the club and not necessarily doing well. So in that kind of moment, when you see signings like that continuously going bad, and the situation with managers going bad, and it being and going like that for over 2 years, it can turn into a bad environment, and people might say, "I want to stay clear of that." So I fully agree with you there.
Yeah, I think in terms of the young players, I mean, in terms of the Colwill situation, I'm not. Don't be surprised if next season he is up for sale, because he's pure profit.
But this is the one thing I was saying. I look at it and I'm getting to a point where I don't. It's not that I don't trust the Chelsea journalists, but they said for about 2 months every week when you guys didn't win, Poch's job is safe. He's safe. It's safe. It's safe. And then after one bad defeat, he's walking on eggshells now. He could be a dead man walking. Doesn't change because of one defeat in that way. They brief you. This ownership, Chelsea fans shouldn't trust him. They may brief the media, we're not going to sell him, but it's pure profit. And it may not be this summer. But if the financial issues hit again because they don't get back in the Champions League next year, who have they got to sell that's going to make them profit? Not the players they've bought in the last 12 to 18 months to 2 years. It's going to be academy players. And he may be the only one left at that point who's actually worth some money in this market. So I think Chelsea fans, yep, you might not sell in this summer, but it could happen. Speaking of Chelsea, though, obviously a big game tonight, playing the Spurs at Stamford Bridge tonight. How are you feeling about the game, Henry? Are you confident going up against Chelsea, or a little bit nervous?
A little bit nervous, to be honest with you. I know Chelsea are absolutely crap at the moment, but we've won there, I think, twice in 33 years. And no matter how bad they are, they somehow turn up against us. Like that Arsenal game, I think, has hit home for a lot of Spurs fans in terms of like the quality of a lot of our players. I think the team selection, I think Johnson's got to go in. If Johnson's not starting this game, like looking at the fact that he was the only forward in the last 30 minutes that was running at a fullback, and knowing the fact that they haven't got Gusto playing there, I'd play Johnson on whatever side that whoever's coming in on, because I think he can beat the defender. But if we can't beat a Chelsea team when they've only got 9 of their first 11 actually fit, they've got 14 injuries. If we can't beat them now at the Bridge, then we're never going to beat them. And if we want to close the gap to down to 4 points of Aston Villa, we have got to go and win there. But for me, it's the amount of set pieces we are conceding. I can just see someone like, I don't know who their centre-back pairing is, but one of them will get a free header because our marking is non-existent. Like, we're one of the worst teams from set pieces in the last 10 games. It's concerning. You know, like the tactical game approach to this game has got to be drop the defensive line 5 yards deeper, because they are very good on the counter-attack. No matter how bad their forwards are, when you've got pace with Madueke, Mudryk, Cole Palmer, if we're playing that high line, and you saw the fact that Mickey van der Ven was holding his calves, like that hamstring's probably 3 or 4 sprints away from going again. Like I'm not confident at all playing this Chelsea side. Everyone on Twitter is going, oh, you know, they're absolutely dead food. We could quite easily score 3 or 4 goals. Chelsea could quite easily score 3 or 4 against us. We've conceded 7 in the last 2 games. We've got 2 clean sheets since December. Like, statistically, only Sheffield United have had less clean sheets than us since December. But we've got the quality to quite easily go and beat Chelsea. It just depends what Tottenham's going to do.
Have you ever beaten them at their ground?
Sorry?
Once in the Premier League.
Have you ever beaten them at the
I was there. We won 3-1.
Do you echo that, Patty? Do you echo that? Are you a bit nervous about going to Stamford Bridge tonight with your current defensive issues? Obviously, this game is sandwiched between Arsenal. You then play Liverpool at the weekend as well. Are you a little concerned that your team just isn't quite up to it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned. What will be, and I'm actually excited to see what happens. At the end of the day, the season's gearing up nicely, and I expect us to win tonight. But like Henry says, I don't know if we will win. We've got more than enough quality to beat them. I think it's a bit of mind games when they say there's 15 players out, 11 players out. I'm sure some of these guys will be ready. There's no way they're all going to miss today. it's a London derby. Chelsea will want to beat us irrespective of, you know, what's going on there. It's a big game for them. But I am concerned because we can't keep clean sheets. We've kept 2, like Henry says, since December. And I remember them clearly because it was Nottingham Forest away, December the 15th, and then Aston Villa away, oddly enough, 4-0 win. But other than that, we always concede. And yeah, I just think, for me, I just need to see a bit more of tactical intelligence from Ange Postecoglou. Like Henry said, he's got it bang on. Drop the high line. Like, just get rid of your ego for a game or 2, man. Let's try and actually win a game, keep a clean sheet, and then move from there. Or stop conceding 2 or 3 goals. We've got to score like 3 or 4 to win a game nowadays, and that's just suicidal, and it's not realistic. They've got pace on the counter. Obviously, they've got Jackson, Madueke, they've got Mykhailo Mudryk, Sterling's still quick. They've got a lot of quick players. Cole Palmer.
We've got to stop Palmer as well. Like,
yeah, exactly.
The way we let Saka just run. Sorry to cut you off. The way we let Saka just run at Davis. Like, the way Bayern beat Arsenal is they put Guerrero and Davis there to stop Bukayo Saka. We just went, have a run at Ben Davis. Go ahead. Yeah. Just run at him. Cole Palmer will destroy Davis.
That's naivety. Saka to be one-on-one with Ben Davis was crazy. Ben Davis is out, by the way. Ben Davis and Werner are both out for the season.
It's going to be Royale.
Yeah, so it has to probably be Royale inverted. What I'd want to see is Mickey van der Venen's left back. And then...
if we do that, Pat,
am I seeing a guy's
we've got no recovery.
That just put me off. So
if we put Van der Ven at left back, we have no recovery pace.
Yeah.
And our line is hiding troops. One ball over the top is curtains. It's Jackson. Like I'm not confident. I'm more confident. I think we'll beat Liverpool.
Yeah, go on, Gal. Go on, bro.
I'm looking at Ange Postecoglou and I'm saying, show me your managerial skills. Show me your ability that you have as a manager to manage games away from home versus a team that is very suspect defensively, and their attack has been very hit or miss depending on who they're playing. So if Ange Postecoglou can go there and he can maybe show some tactical flexibility and change his way a little bit, if you guys get a lead, he can maybe try to hold on to it for once. Because you guys haven't been able to do that. I think the main thing is Ange Postecoglou is trying to instill a style of play and his principles on the team, but at times it's costing you guys games. It's costing you guys opportunities to close off games and teams always have an opportunity to come back into it. So if you guys get a lead away against Chelsea, I expect Chelsea to still have a go at you and come back in this game. And where if you guys are down, I still expect you guys to be offensively good enough to get back into the game. So both teams have the ability to hurt each other, but it comes down to Ange Postecoglou if he changes his principles. Because I know Chelsea, they're looking into this game and they're looking at themselves as, we're Chelsea, we're at home, we're going to try to beat you guys. But if we don't win, we're still early in our process. Where you guys had promising signs at the beginning of the season. You categorically look like a better team than them. But now you look just as disorganized as Chelsea. It's actually scary how much you've gone backwards.
I feel like, yeah, you know, when I look at the Spurs, it's you guys said it in the group chat today, top 4's gone. It is if you lose tonight. It is if you lose to Liverpool, because, you know, Aston Villa will probably pick up points. But I kind of want you to win. I want that race to continue. And I also think Spurs winning is good for the title race. Because if Spurs have nothing to play for when they play Man City, they will absolutely lose. Now, I don't know if you two have been a part of the Spurs fans are writing letters into your club asking them to throw the game. I know some Spurs fans have sent letters, some have emailed. I thought it was a joke, and I've had Spurs fans message me, sending me the screenshots saying, no, I emailed the club. I've sent letters into the club. I want us to lose type thing. I think it's a bit of a joke, but they've done that.
Yeah.
Like winning tonight, I think if you're an Arsenal fan, you should want Spurs to win tonight, because I think it keeps, I know that's a weird thing to say, but it keeps Spurs in the hunt for that top 4 position.
We don't care what Arsenal fans want. We do not care.
I'm talking from the host of the Football Terrace who wants the title race and the top 4 race to stay as alive as possible, right? I want it. But CB, how do you see this game going? Because Chelsea fans have long felt that you could sort of end up in maybe 6th position by the end of this campaign, which, considering where you were, that isn't the end of the world. You're 6 points behind Man United in 6th. This is your game in hand. How do you see it going tonight, and how do you think it will end up playing out for Chelsea?
I I said it after the FA Cup semi-final when we lost. We have 3 really moral victories to play. We've got Arsenal, a chance to end their title race. We shut the bed, defecated all over ourselves. We've now got Spurs, a chance to end the top 4 race. We haven't beat Spurs out there. Spurs have only beat us once at home in the Premier League era. However, you need to take into account that Spurs are now licking their wounds after the North London derby. As well as that, we practically ended their season last time we played them because they were flying. 10 games unbeaten, was it at that point? You were first 20 minutes, you was all over us. Literally, like it was like a Tiana Trump 9v1. You guys were all over us. Speaking of 9, 2 players went, you had 2 red cards, guys went injured. Ange persisted on the high line. He was running a high line that was higher than Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg and Mac and Devon. I don't know why he did that with 9 men. It made no sense. And then from then, your season capitulated. You lost Van de Ven, you lost Madison. It was downhill from then. So I think you guys are coming into the game saying, no, you know what? Fuck that. We're getting our get back. There's no way this awful Chelsea side are doing a double on us. That's 1. 2, we got the top 4 to play for. 3, we just lost to Arsenal. We're not losing to Arsenal and Chelsea back to back. Now, I look at our injury situation. All season, we've had 5 key players out. Fofana, Lavia, Reece James, Nkunku. I know I'm forgetting someone. It's that bad. And then now we have no Gusto, who's arguably been our best player this season. So no Thiago Silva, who's been our best centre-back this season. So now we're running a back line of Alfie Gilchrist, Chalobah, Badiashile, and Kukurea.
We can't beat
Good
that
back
Chelsea.
4 there. Very
Is
solid back
Badiashile's
4.
injured? CP, is Badiashile injured or is he all right?
No, Disasi's injured. Disasi's
Oh,
injured.
Disasi. Okay, so
Yeah.
So if you've got a centre-back who can win a header from a set-piece, you'll score a goal.
yeah, that's the problem.
The same set piece problems you have, we have too. We concede from set pieces all the time. That's our biggest weakness.
Boys, this is going to be, in my opinion, similar to the Man United Chelsea game. I think it is going to be an end-to-end basketball match with, I might even put a little flutter on this tonight. I might even put a little flutter on there being more than 6 goals in the game. I genuinely believe it could be a very, very high goal scoring game indeed. But by the way, if you do want to play a game tonight, while you're watching this game, it's got to be match bingo. This is my official card for the Chelsea-Tottenham game tonight. My actual card you can see on the screen now. You should join in and play. There's hundreds of pounds to give away if you get 1 line. The first person to get a line, you win. If you're the first person to get 2 lines, you win. If you're the first person to get a full house, you win. And I'm so happy because time added on for me in the middle there is 5, right? The last 3 or 4 of these bingo cards I've got, genuinely, they said 2 minutes of time. When is 2 minutes of time added on ever given anymore in football? So I'm glad that 5 minutes was on there. But they're giving away free Arsenal cards as well. You can see at the top there, the Arsenal cards this weekend are free. So get yourself signed up to Match Bingo. Join in the fun tonight and over the course of the weekend. Score predictions for tonight. What are you going with, Gal, for the Chelsea-Tottenham game?
Individual errors galore. This game's going to have goals, Terry. I could see it ending 3-3, both sides scoring 3 goals. It will be mental. That's my prediction. 3-3 draw.
Tom Little?
I mean, everyone's going for the high scoring one. I might just go for 0-0 for a laugh. See if I'm the one that can get, there's all these chances, but provided they don't fall to Son, Tottenham missed them. And provided they don't fall to Palmer, Chelsea missed them because they don't really back anyone else to score goals in pressure moments. So I'm sure it'll be end-to-end, but I could just see all the big chances getting squandered because as much as the opposition's attackers aren't great, I actually do think Vicario and Petrovic are quite decent in goal. So the ones that a Johnson gets on target will be saved, and the ones that a Jackson gets on target by accident will be saved. So I'll go 0-0 for a laugh.
0-0 for a laugh. What are you going with, CB, as the home team?
I think it's a 2-2 draw or 3-2 win to us. I do think it's going to be end to end. Our biggest weaknesses is when we come across the low block. When we actually play teams that come at us, it will be nice. It'll be end to end. But looking at Son versus Gilchrist, that's proper grim. Madueke, I saw him FaceTime in Ruby Rose, so he better score a goal, bruv. I ain't got time for none of that stuff. We've become OnlyFans FC. We've got Jackson FaceTime in Astrid, and we've got Madueke FaceTime in Ruby Rose. So hopefully we can get a goal from one of that front 3. Modric is non-existent. as well. I have no. That's the problem. Unless we get a penalty of some sort, I know Romero in derbies is a bit rash. So hopefully we could get a penalty and Cole Palmer scores. Open play or maybe a set piece from a header, like you guys said. But generally, open play, I don't see us scoring with that front three. I'm being honest with you. So, but yeah, I'll say 2-2 ideally or 3-2 to us.
Chatty Patty, what are you going to go with, mate?
3-2 Spurs.
Mm.
Yeah. Tottenham have got to win, man. We've lost 2 games on the spin now. We lost to Newcastle, lost to Arsenal. Yeah, it's time to win a game. 3-2 Tottenham.
What you saying, Henry Wright?
2-1 Spurs. I think Chelsea will score a penalty from Palmer. I think Tottenham will go 2-0 up. And if we lose tonight, that's basically it for the top 4 race. And like you said, if we do lose tonight, we're not going to give... I don't think we'll care about Man City beating us anyway, just so that lot doesn't win the league. But yeah, tonight it's about closing the gap between Aston Villa. We've got 2 games in hand. I think there's, believe it or not, though, I do think there's more chance of us beating Liverpool at the weekend than beating Chelsea.
Yeah.
Are you home or away when you play them?
We play Liverpool away, but they're Liverpool are on the beach. Like they're in the top 4. They've got nothing to play for. I mean, they're not, if we just emulate Palace's performance to a degree, which we can do, we'll beat them. But we could quite easily Liverpool could quite easily score 4 against us. Like that's how unpredictable we are. I just think I think tonight it's going to be nervous. I'm nervous the whole game. Like I think we'll all win, but
if you win tonight, I agree. I think if you win tonight, you also beat Liverpool, because I don't believe at this moment your players have given up on a Champions League place. Your manager has. Lose tonight, and especially and Villa play before you, you'll know their result before you go out on the pitch. I think it will just. I think that will then just be a game. You'll actually find it to be a really good game because it will be 2 people that are on the beach essentially at that point playing a game of football. But yeah, if you win tonight, I think you also beat. I think you also
if we
beat
lose
Liverpool.
tonight to Chelsea. Liverpool
I'm going to go 4-3 tonight. 4-3 to Tottenham.
Let's go
for tonight. 4-3 to Tottenham. I think it's going to be high scoring. I just think Tottenham will edge it. They do have a lot of players out at Chelsea. They're not particularly great. I know they did well against Aston Villa, and I'm not trying to shit on that. It was excellent in the second half. But I feel like them against Villa this season has been a little bit of styles make fights. There's something about Poch's style with Chelsea that just gets the better of Aston Villa, similarly to Man United. Then you've got, teams like City that got dominated at home against them. Arsenal couldn't beat them home or away, but yet Man United and Chelsea have been able to get really positive results. That's a style issue rather than a being up there. So I'm going to go with Spurs to nick it 4-3, highest goal scoring game. And I agree with Gal. I think there'll be a number of mistakes that lead to goals. I think both teams will score from a set piece tonight of some sort. It's going to be an amazing game. It really, really is. So I'm very, very excited about it. Viewers, give us your thoughts and your feelings. A few super chat. First comment here, actually, before we go to the super chats. And Chez is going to be joining us very soon because he wants to challenge some of the Chelsea opinions from earlier. But we'll get onto that. We've got an Arsenal bit to do, and then we'll bring that in. This is from KJ, this question. He says, Paddy and Henry, if Spurs beat or draw with Man City and Arsenal win the league, are you Ange out? And will you boo your own team for scoring goals and winning the game?
I don't think you can be Ange out if we lose to City. Like just because Arsenal win the league doesn't really affect Ange Postecoglou's performances. Like
no, sorry, he's saying if we beat City, as in like we beat City.
Oh, we beat City.
Arsenal that advantage.
No, I won't be Ange out now.
Yeah, I won't be happy. Obviously, like from a fan standpoint, we don't want to do anything in any shape or form that gives Arsenal the edge. I know Arsenal are on top of the league right now, but City have a game in hand. I believe it's 1 or 2 points. I'm not sure. So City need to beat us. If we don't win today, the thing is, by the time the City game comes, we would have played Chelsea and Liverpool. So by then we'll know what's what. That's 2 tough away games. Yeah, we could be 0-2. So all of this could just be a nonsense. It might not even matter. But if we win both of those games, then we'll have another conversation. But I'm not going to lie to you. I never want to see Arsenal succeed with us giving them a helping hand. So, like if we're being honest as well, in terms of our project, I would prefer for us to be in the Europa League next year. It's a more realistic chances of winning major silverware. It's a major honour and it gets you back into the Champions League with no drop downs. I'd rather that than win against fucking Man City and then Arsenal win the league. That is disgusting. I can never handle that. So that's my
Paddy, I need your address.
You don't need my address, no. Sorry.
I need to send you the Arsenal jersey. I need to send you the Arsenal jersey. We had a bet. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. We had a bet. I am buying. I need your size. I need your address. I'm sending you a jersey. You're winning it on the live
Save
stream.
your money, man. Save your money.
Nah, bro. We had a bet.
Nah.
We had a bet. Be a man of your word, man. Be a man of your word.
Listen, mark my words. Spurs will deliver us this league title. Spurs will not play any weak side. Ange Postecoglou and those players will not risk another game of their career to be bad just because
there's an international tournament in the summer though, Miguel. What if they don't want to get into that tournament? What if Van de Ven?
We'll be singing Blue Moon at half time with the City fans. I guarantee you
that. I don't think for 1 second Ange Postecoglou and those players are going to be looking at Arsenal and saying, "Oh, if we beat City, Arsenal's going to win the league. We have to play a weekend side and we have to give away chances. Through on goal, Son is going to kick it left." That's not going to happen. Let's be real. These guys are professional footballers. They care about winning games. And Ange Postecoglou is going to want to end the season on a positive note, no matter what you guys think. Even if it comes down to City drawing or winning, I don't see your goalkeeper letting in a goal just because Arsenal is going to lose the league or not. And also, how many of your players in your first team are actually academy kids? How many of them actually are through and through Tottenham, came from Tottenham, that actually care like that? Barely any.
You're just saying things like you
didn't even start one academy player.
Paddy, you're talking from a fan's point of view. I understand the fan's point of view. Hold on, listen. From a fan's point of view, hear me out, right? As a fan,
I'm not going to come off the stream.
No, Paddy, hear me out. Paddy, sorry. I'm not trying to shut you. I'm not trying to shut you down. I'm just saying, like, as a fan, I wouldn't want to my club to do anything that would help Tottenham as a fan. But I do know that the people who run the club and the people who do that job, the players themselves and the coach, in as much as there's a rivalry, it's also about player pride and club pride. It's like Arsenal would want to do well for Arsenal before they want Tottenham to fail. Like, I can't hate Tottenham so much that I want my club to fail because Tottenham will succeed. Like, for me, that is detrimental as a fan. Like, if I had to beat City to make Champions League, and because I beat City, Tottenham wins the league, I don't care. You will brag for a whole summer, and then next summer I'll come again. And if I win the league next summer, I'll brag over your head. But I would want my team to at least do well, end well, be well. That's all I care about. More than my hatred for Tottenham, more than I loathe you guys, I love my club more. That's all I'm saying.
Ultimately, though, guys.
I want to go to Paddy on this. Sorry, go on, Paddy. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah. Have you ever seen at the end of a season where players literally look like they're on the beach? Have you ever seen when players don't track back and let players run past them? It happens all the time.
No,
so
it does.
You guys saying, "Oh, player pride and player." Come on, man. Let's get real. If players are not on it and are not at it, and there's nothing to play for, they will show that there's nothing to play for.
You're gonna celebrate,
and someone's gonna be through on goal and sky it to Rosette, or Vicario dives left when the ball goes right. It's not a cartoon. It's not, the reality is players won't track runners, players won't go for 50-50s, players won't put tackles in, and players won't play at their normal capacity. I've seen Tottenham, the last game of the season, when we had nothing to play for. We knew we weren't going to win the league against Leicester. We got smashed 5-1 or 5-0 at home by a relegation team that had already gone down, as in Newcastle.
Yeah.
So when players have nothing to play, come on, like, you lot are just saying.
No.
I agree. I agree with Patty. I think that's why, if you're a Spurs fan, an Arsenal fan, and you believe that what you wish for might come true, you've got to hope and pray Spurs win their next couple of games, because like I said earlier, you need Spurs to win these games so they stay in the top 4 hunt. I get where Patty's coming from, that he maybe thinks that Champions League next season is a step too far. But I think Big Ange and the players, and certainly Tottenham Football Club, they want to be in that Champions League, whether it's because they want the money or whether it's a player pride because they want to be in that tournament. They're going to push for it. So if you're a Gooner, you essentially need Tottenham to win every single game between now and when they play Man City, and to hope that Villa drop points, because if they go into that City game needing a win, they might be able to take points off them. But what's really important for Arsenal is this weekend, you've got a game up against Bournemouth, who Bournemouth are in really, really good form at the moment. I would say pound for pound have been one of the best teams in the league this year. Are you confident that Arsenal, though, can get that job done and stay top?
Yes, Terry, I am confident in my team. The way that my team plays at home, though, we do give teams chances. We're not as defensively solid as we are away from home. So maybe in these kind of games, sometimes we can have a lapse of concentration and concede. But I still believe we're a much better team than Bournemouth, and we're in the title race. We know what job is in front of us. We have to win all our games. Bournemouth last year was a scare. It took us a 3-2 victory to win that game. Hopefully this year we can have it sorted out quickly. Maybe take a 2-goal lead early and just sit on it. And unlike the Spurs game, we don't give them any goals. We come out of there with a 2-0 victory, Terry. That's what I'm hopeful for. And we have a relatively strong, fit, available squad. As for them, they have a plethora of injuries, a bunch of players out, and even some players out due to red cards. So if we can't beat Bournemouth, then it was just never our year. But I expect us to win.
Don't worry, Cobham Benzema is going to do a job for us. Cobham Benzema, Mr. Solanke, he's going to do something for us. Don't worry.
How do you see it going, Dio, this weekend? Because there's a lot of talk that Arsenal may not. I mean, you just can't afford to drop any points until the end of the season, especially if City don't. Are you confident you'll get the W this weekend?
I mean, we have to. It's 3 more games, and I've been saying this since it was like 10 games. I've been like, just pragmatic football. Just go in there. This is not the time to try any tricks, flicks. This is not the time to be fancy. This is not the time to try and do anything crazy. Just go in there level-headedly, get your goal, depend on your strong points, which is what we did against Tottenham. We used our set pieces. Like, get those set pieces in, use what you're good at, defend strongly, get your goal from however you want to get it, and just ride the 90 minutes through. And I think we can do that. I think we can do that at home against Bournemouth. Bournemouth is not going to be easy. No game at the end of the season is easy, even when it's a team that is not really fighting for a lot. I mean, like, when I mean fighting for a lot, like, they're not challenging for the title. They're not trying to get into Champions League. But still, they're a danger, regardless of how we look at them. So yeah, I think we can get the win this weekend. I think we win. I think we win 2-0. 1 goal in the first half, and maybe a second goal in the second half, close to the end of the game, just to seal it off. A very defensive Arsenal. I'm not saying sit back, but play to your strength. If we play on the counter, Bukayo, if you can't drive in, get a foul on the edge of the box. Let's get a set piece there. Get a corner as quickly as you can, as many as you can, because we're good at set pieces. Whatever it takes, just do what it takes, and I think we can win 2-0.
Bournemouth are a tough side. I really like Bournemouth.
Yeah,
I think
they're a tough side. Yeah,
Iraola's done a fantastic job there. I mean, I saw a stat today. If you ignore the first 10 games of the season where they went winless when they were trying to figure out the system, they had a load of injuries. Since then, they've been like the 5th best team in the league in terms of results and where they'd be in that league table. They're in really good form. Their confidence couldn't be higher, and there's no pressure on them. This is the kind of game which is a banana skin at the end of the season, because Bournemouth can just go for it. And if they lose, they lose. The fans aren't going to sit there and go, "Wow, it's a disgrace, it's this, it's that." This is the type of game for a lot of their fringe players and their squad players to just have a go and have a good time with it. Arsenal at the end of the season, there's a scalp to take there. And in title races, these low-end teams want to take that scalp. They want to be the team that cost them the title.
Tom, do you know what I say that? I say that even Bournemouth at their best, I don't think they can beat Arsenal, though. I know a draw for Arsenal is terrible, but as much as they play good football and they're in good form, I can't see them doing enough to even draw the game, to be honest. I think
I think Bournemouth, when they're on it, can compete with the very best teams.
They probably can compete, but
I think they've got a squad makeup that is a real problem for most top teams. They've got a lot of pace on the wings. They've got a battle in midfield, and they've got a striker who, despite never being that for us, is apparently now clinical in front of goal when he gets the chance. That is just a matchup for a nightmare in these top games.
But Tom, here's what you also need to realize: Arsenal is in form right now. Exactly, so Bournemouth can be. All I'm saying is, it's never going to be an easy game. But yet, if this was an Arsenal that, is going through a stumbling patch right now, where we're just like, oh my god, these guys are like, they look. There's just something about Arsenal that looks weak. Then hey, fine, I'd be more worried. I know it's going to be a tough game, but Bournemouth can go for it. If they go for it and they open up, they're going to get murked.
If you look at the form, if you look at the form, sorry, Tom, I just want to throw stats in. You look at the form in the last 6 games, which is normally typically 5-6 games, and you look at current form. Arsenal's home record is 5 wins. They've got that 1 defeat to Aston Villa, but they're top of the form chart on 15. When you look at away games, as good as Bournemouth have been, they're 9th in that with 2 wins, 3 defeats, and one draw. So they're like mid-table on that. Yeah, they could. This is it. Bournemouth are tough. They've got a very good team. They could take points off Arsenal, but it's going to be very, very difficult for them. Where Arsenal are currently top of both the away and home form tables at the moment. Like Arsenal on form are the best team in the league. That's why they're top. But I think Arsenal will get it done. But I think what Dio said, 2-0 or 2-1. I think it's going to be one of them real nervy, close ones from Arsenal. And the good thing is for Arsenal, though, they kick off Henry before City play at 5:30. So they can just add that extra bit of pressure again to Manchester City before their game with Wolves. Can you see any slip-ups at all from City this weekend coming?
No, I think Arsenal and City will both win. I think Arsenal, it's going to be tight, but I'd expect Arsenal to just 2 or 3 goals past this Bournemouth side. I know they're on very, very good form and they've got a great setup, but I think they'll win. And I think Man City will dispatch Wolves. I think Man City are due a battery in terms of to score. I know they scored I think it was 5 against Luton, but I think they're due another one, and it could quite easily be this Wolves team. You know, I know Wolves are very unpredictable and they turn up against the big teams, but I've just got a feeling Man City will score 4 against Wolves, and the title race goes on another weekend. It just comes down to that game in hand against us. I think Arsenal win their remaining games this season, but I also think City do. But then the other side of my head, I'm like, well, hang on. City have never won at our ground. They've never scored a goal in the league at our ground, other than the FA Cup win. So I don't know. My left side of my brain saying City win the league. My right side of my brain say Arsenal win the league. But yeah, I think in terms of the Wolves game, I think City quite easy put 4 goals past Wolves.
Yeah, it's a revenge game for City. They lost the game at Molineux early this season, and they felt outdone by there. There was a potential red card that wasn't given and stuff. City are just now in that mode, which they always enter, of win. That no matter how well they play, no matter who's on that pitch, they win. They can play brilliantly, they can play terribly, as you saw against Forest. They should have lost against Forest, but for whatever reason, there's a super force around them, which makes opposition strikers turn into dog water in front of goal against them, and then they just get whatever bounce they need. This is what happens with City. This is why they've won so many of the last titles, and going out of the Champions League the way they did, and with I think Foden being back for the Wolves game, I just see this being a game where Pep gives them a kick up the arse and they go and show why the City could end 5-6, something like that.
Not only that, Haaland's goal as well. It was good for Haaland, like the way he took these goal against Forest. I think Haaland could quite easily get a couple against Wolves as well. Like, he took that goal really well. There's been a lot of criticism around in the last 10 games. You know, is he going to win the Golden Boot or whatever? You know, his all-round game. He took that goal really well, and I think that would give him confidence. And I think he could. I'm going to probably back him to get a hat-trick against Wolves. I think they're going to destroy them. Pause. But yeah.
It's certainly an interesting one. It really is. City fans saying they're a little bit worried. CB, I've got a question for you when it comes to Arsenal. A lot of people said they capitulated when they lost to Villa. They bounced back with 3 back-to-back wins against Wolves, against Chelsea, against Tottenham. If they stay the course now and even say win their last 3 games but don't win the league, would you still think it would be fair to label Arsenal kind of bottle jobs or pretenders, or not? I know they're not good enough to win it because they've come second, but do you think if they end the season well, it kind of absorbs them from any major criticism?
No. Just off the problem with Arsenal is not them as an institution. As an institution, what they've the performances. If they finish second in the league, and if they do well, they lose by a point or 2 points, the game in hand or so forth, then they're in the Klopp Liverpool conversation in terms of a title race. It was close. However, their fans talk as if they've already won the treble. This is the problem. So of course their fans will get crashed on. I was actually saying that the fact that we lost in that fashion to Arsenal in this point of the season is on our hands if they win the league. Because, like you said, they capitulated against Aston Villa. They crashed out against Bayern. We've seen the Arsenal team in the past where when they lose important games in the run-in, they completely fold under the pressure. They've gone to Chelsea and they slapped 5 past us. No coincidence they're 3-0 up in the first half against Spurs because we put the battery in their back. Now it's onto us. It was in our hands to take the title race off from them. So now I see it. If they were to win the league, I blame our players and our team because we brought that confidence back into them. I would say, though, if they do finish, they're not in a position where they are to bottle. It's a game in hand. They're a point above. So I don't think it's a bottling situation.
Are you Chelsea fans really trying to be that relevant that you put the battery back in art? Like really, like you want to make you want to make the conversation so relevant about Chelsea that it's Chelsea's loss that put. Of course not. The only reason. Listen. You might not like the Arsenal fans. But I'll say this about my club, right? The reason Arsenal is winning right now is because of how Arteta is setting us up and how these players want it so bad. Against Tottenham, we could have drawn that game, but you could see it in their eyes in the last few minutes. They wanted it bad.
No, the referee handed you a massive dobby as well.
No. Raya handed you a goal as well. So just be calm. Be calm about it. So be calm about that. We both handed each other something. Referee did not hand you a penalty that you should have got. I agree with that. But Raya also handed you a goal. I agree with, and you have to agree with that. So that's it. Let's not potato. All I'm saying is, in the last few minutes, Tottenham was crashing on Arsenal. And they could have tied that game. But you could see it in the eyes of the Arsenal players. They wanted it bad. They wanted it so bad, and they steered the course and made sure that they did not concede a third goal. That's the reason Arsenal is doing good. It's not because Chelsea gave us confidence. We beat you because your team is not good enough. Just accept the fact that your team is not good enough. Your coach did not set you up right. So we beat you guys. Tottenham. The only reason Tottenham lost, and I'll say this again, Tottenham did not play for 15 days. That is one of the biggest things that I think was their problem. If Tottenham had been playing a few games and they were in their pump, that game would have ended as a tie. I guarantee, because it's a derby. And usually this derbies between Arsenal and Tottenham is always tricky. It's not about form. It's not about how good you are. It's just always a weird one. But the fact that they were just woken up from sleep after 15 days, here you go play a team that has played every 3 days, who are in their stride and are running. It's like trying to catch up to somebody who's been doing the marathon for 30 minutes before you, and you just go start at the beginning. You're not going to catch up. That's what I feel. So yeah.
To answer Terry's question though, that's a good speech there. To answer your question, Jerry, I don't think it's a bottle.
Sorry, you made me laugh. Sorry.
That's cheeky.
I like that. We do this all the time. To answer your question, it's not a bottle job, but it just shows that they're not at the level there yet. Like the Champions League showed us that they were favourites to go into that game. They choked home and away. They couldn't handle it. The Premier League, they're in good positions to be solid in the league. They lost 2-0 at home to Villa. Like that's unacceptable in a title race. That was only a few weeks ago as well. So it wasn't like a month ago where you can say it was quite recently. So it's not a case of they bottled it, because they haven't bottled it. If you go to the last game of the season, you lose. It is what it is, right? Like you tried your hardest to that point. But the issue is that they can get kicked down the road, and it's another season where they've won anything. And that's the part I touched on, where it's like, you could not win the league and Champions League, but where are you in the cups? Like, there's no excuse for the cups. If your team is so good the way they say it is, then they should be competing in the cup competitions as well as the Champions League and Premier League. Do you get it? So that's where my issue is, that you need to start winning games, start winning trophies, to say you're the team you are.
That's just a reasonable thing. Like, until we win trophies, of course you're going to say, "Oh, Arsenal did not."
We're not Premier League and Champions League.
I don't know. But
the argument is one set.
Okay,
the argument is, obviously, people say, which is fair, I don't really care about the Carabao Cup. I've heard Patrick say it before. How people say it before? That's fair enough. The issue is that if you haven't won trophies for a while, and you need to build that mentality up. These trophies will just help. So there's going to be people.
So you're saying trophies for a while. The last time we won a trophy was 2019, right? 2019, 2020.
That's a long time ago.
I know. No, I'm not saying it's not a long time ago, but there's teams in the top 6 that haven't won in the last 4 years, 2 or 3 years.
That's a problem.
So it is a problem. So what I'm saying is, and in those, and here's the thing again, since 2019 that we won our last trophy, in this 4 years, we've challenged twice for the title. Liverpool missed out 4 or 5 times. I didn't hear anybody call them bottle jobs then. Liverpool missed out 4 or 5 times against Klopp. Many times. I didn't hear anybody say, oh, bottle jobs. But hold on.
We missed out twice.
No, I'm saying you were the team that really pushed 4 or 5 times. You guys were the ones pushing City. Like City was you were City's biggest rival. You were City's biggest rival. You're City's biggest rival for the title for the longest time out of anybody else. Yes or no?
Can I just jump in for a minute here? Like, I understand what everyone's point is, right? When has this changed? I understand to be considered one of the best teams in the world, you've got to be winning one of the major leagues. You've probably got to pick up a European trophy as well. I don't think that's unreasonable. But I remember watching the Premier League during what I think was its best period from, say, 2004 until about 2012, 2013. And in most of those seasons, Ches, Man United and Arsenal and Chelsea challenged for those league titles. And quite a number of those years, Liverpool did as well. The team that came second, sometimes even the team that came third, if it was only by like 6-7 points, no one ever called them bottle jobs. They were title contenders and they were looked at as a really good team in Europe. They were treated in that way. Now it's almost, if you're not winning the league, you're looked at as a bottle job and crap and a failure. And it's not just trying to defend Arsenal. I'm thinking wider here because all of our clubs might be in Arsenal's position in the next 2, 3, 4 years where you're not quite the winning team. Sure, I know there are some people in Standards FC that are just, if you're not winning, you're losing, and all losers should be treated the same. But surely that's a little bit over the top.
Yeah, I would not go to say they're bottle jobs and they're failures as an overall project. But this season has been a failure because from last season, you weren't expected to be in a title race. Objectives change. Man City, a better team, knew they won the league. Cool. This season now, you improved, got Declan Rice, you got a few pieces you thought would help. You failed again. My issue with this season is they failed at all 4 competitions. That to me is a problem because they've had the same squad throughout the whole season. Not that many injuries compared to Tottenham, Chelsea, even other clubs. Even Man City lost De Bruyne, one of the best players in the league we've ever seen. So it's like, at what point do Arsenal fans need to accept that you actually need to start winning trophies as well as like competing? Like it's all good competing, but the reason why the Liverpool example was poor is because Tom Little's team won the Champions League the year before. They'd won the Champions League. So they gave Klopp and the team a bit more like.
But I think most Arsenal. What you're saying there, Chair, is 100%, and I think that most Arsenal fans. I think most Arsenal fans do, but the conversation becomes diluted because you get this. I think Dyer would admit we've failed this season on our objective of winning a trophy. But then what people will do is, so you must want the manager out. You must want all these players sold because they're not good enough. And it always goes a little bit too far, in my opinion. Did you get where I'm coming? And I'm not saying you're saying that personally. It's everybody sort of tries to... this is how football conversations go now. And again, I'm accusing no one on this panel. But you'll get this sort of... Say next season, Man United have a new manager. And most people predict us coming 7th and winning nothing. But we win an FA Cup and we come 4th. But we had a chance to be in the title race and we fell off. You'll get some that will go, well, your objectives changed in the season. You could have been in the title race. You fouled at that bit. Do you want your manager out? No, because I feel like we progress still. And I think sometimes it goes away from what you're saying in isolation, that they have to try and win. And people try and go fully in that it's always like people are trying to put them in the same camp as Chelsea and Man United this season, which is ridiculous. And that's not a suggestion at you. I think Arsenal fans are holding Arteta to that level. And what I heard from most Arsenal fans this season, the level-headed ones, is if they fell away 2 months ago and were nowhere near the title race, I think Arsenal fans would have said, enough's enough, I've got to move on. But if you're missing out on winning the title by maybe a singular point or two, and you're up against one of the greatest English teams of all time in City, as much as you're disappointed not to win, I don't think it feels the same as we do right now being in the mud. I think it's a very different feeling. How we all felt, Ches, back in the noughties, where you'd miss out on winning the league, you'd be pissed, but you knew you were going to be in the race again next year. So it wasn't doom and gloom, I think.
And for me, like I've got enough to say on this. Arsenal doing well. I'm a Chelsea fan. I don't talk on them too much. But obviously, being objective, They're still in the title race. Next season, they'll still be there. They can't see the team dropping off that much. But obviously, they just need to win. I don't think they won't. I think they'll win major trophies eventually. I don't think it'll be this season.
I hear you on that.
I can see the winning trophies. I have to hold down all that.
We can do a few super chats here, and then we're just going to go back to the Chelsea stuff. This is, as a United fan, I can tell you, winning a cup like the Carabao Cup and FA Cup doesn't mean you're a good team, nor does not winning a cup make you a bad team. Yes, I mean, language here is so key. It doesn't make you a successful team if you're not successful per se if you're not winning, if you're one of the big clubs. But you are right. I've seen bad teams. Listen, Wigan got relegated and won an FA Cup. So we know that's also true. Martin Zubimendi to Arsenal, please. Edu needs to consider him and his Champions League experience. Maybe Nusa as a winger. He scored in the Champions League age 16. Listen, I think Zubimendi would be a class signing. This super chat says Arsenal missing 2 starters all season, Timber and Partey. Martinelli, Jesus, Martinelli, Zinchenko all had long periods out where they were injured. The thing is, Kay, I'm going to say this though, that's normal. I would say that Chelsea this season, Tottenham this season, Man United this season, just name 3 of the traditional top 6. You'd put Newcastle in this category. I've had so much more than that. And the amount of players you've had out this year, whenever it comes to your predictions about your club, factor in that many injuries because you're more likely to get 3 or 4 players miss chunks of the season than go for a campaign like Liverpool did when they won the league, where almost none of their first team. That's rare. Losing players to injury is normal. So I would definitely consider that in my predictions. That's the reason clubs like Chelsea and Spurs are small clubs with small mentality. They are worried about Arsenal not winning the league more than themselves fighting for a European place.
Why is my club getting put into this conversation?
No, Chaz, you came late. Chaz, you came late. There was a question asked earlier about Tottenham and Chelsea playing today, and if Tottenham qualifies to make Champions League and all that, and a certain Tottenham fan who still has to put on an Arsenal jersey says he would rather Tottenham don't win don't beat Man City so that Arsenal doesn't win the league, and we're like, and so that's where the conversation.
Yeah, and why are Arsenal fans acting like they're any different? I've seen clips from AFTV when both Tottenham and Arsenal were in the Champions League and Europa League finals respectively, and every single fan was asked, "What would you rather? Your team win and Tottenham win, or your team lose and Tottenham lose?" And they all said lose. Like, why are Arsenal fans acting like it's not a rivalry?
No, I agree, and I don't like any of them attitudes.
I didn't say it's not a rivalry.
This here from Pav says, I think Chelsea should look at Sean Dyche. He can work wonders and transform these young players and will add discipline to their game, which they desperately need. I'd love to know the panel's thoughts.
100%. 100%. He's got the 4th best defence in the league this year, Sean Dyche. Imagine him with a bigger budget.
Tom, I don't know why you're like.
Imagine him being able to mould a young core of players. I mean, you look at what Pochettino's done with youngsters. Look what Sean Dyche has done with Branthwaite this season. Send him into a fantastic young centre-back.
Pipe down.
Chelsea fans in the chat, we are in the sewers. Look what's happened to us. Sean Dyche.
He's joking, bro. He's joking. Why are you getting
He's trolling. He has to be trolling.
This is criminal.
I am certain that Chelsea's owners will take a collective measures in the summer, such as signing more experienced players to balance the squad. Igal barely keeping a straight face, laughing my ass off. They have to. If they don't, if they stick to this young players or capping everybody's salary at 150k, if they do that, I genuinely mean this. If they do that and any Chelsea fan gives that club any money, it's on you. If you let the club do that and let them roll over, and as grown men, there's 2 of you on here. If you let Todd Boehly, if you lay on your back and let Todd Boehly tickle your belly as grown men, if he does this, I don't know if I'll have you back on the terrace. I'll be ashamed of you.
What experienced players like?
Osherman.
What good experienced players are going to join Chelsea under these circumstances?
Tony would.
Who?
What experience does Tony have? He was a championship player for most of his career.
Oh, so now we're moving the goalpost.
Would you take Ivan Tony to the Bernabeu?
You're moving the goalpost now.
I'm just asking.
Experience is relative, though, isn't it? This Chelsea squad needs experience with people who played at the top level, and you want to go Tony, who spent the majority of his career with Peterborough.
Right, facts.
Before I was saying in the monologue, you need more experience. I name one. I know it's because you see him playing at the Bernabeu. That's not the question,
For
bro.
me personally, that's how I judge the players.
Would
Would
you
you
think
at the
of
club?
him?
I
Would
like,
you
yeah.
start him at the Bernabeu?
Tony's a
If
good
we came
player.
to it?
Come on,
Tony's
let's not
a
do
good
this.
player. What
Tony,
are we doing
Tony's
here?
a good
Like,
player.
boss,
Cheers,
he's-
cheers,
listen,
What we
listen,
doing? What we doing?
Cheers. There's a difference between Ivan Toney being a good player and having a little bit of Premiership experience as compared to other players. Jared Bowen has more experience than Ivan Toney.
Cool.
When it comes to
Yeah, so what
I'm
strikers
saying,
are you aiming for this summer? What
Huh?
strikers are you going to go for this summer, Dale?
me personally, like if I wanted a striker,
No, realistically, what Arsenal strikers?
They're going to go for Isak. Let's be real.
Isak is who I would want.
About, and you've got Champions League experience. No. So what are we doing?
No. But here's the difference, though. The stage at which Arsenal is, and what we need to complete us to be a stronger team is that clinical finisher like Isak, right? So fine. If we have that piece, then we become a stronger team, right? We're talking about Chelsea, who need at least 4 or 5 experienced players. Like you guys need minimum 4 or 5 experienced players.
Tony's 1 of 5. That's not bad for me.
So
Tony has Tony played in Europe before at all, even Conference League level.
It's just Tony.
I'm just saying, like, you know,
No, but why are we doing this as a fan base? Why have our standards dropped this low? We used to attract Ballon d'Or.
So Tony's now a bad player all of a sudden. Is that
it's
what
not
we're
about
saying?
being a bad player, but I grew up watching the likes of Shevchenko, Fernando Torres, Drogba, Ballon d'Or winners, nominees playing for my club as strikers, bro. Anelka, top strikers, and you're bringing me Ivan Toney.
CB, what striker would you like then?
I wouldn't mind a Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon.
Oh yeah, because he's got so much experience in it. Oh,
he does though. He's played in Europe. He's played in Europe.
This
This is what I'm saying.
Keep it stepping.
He's played in Europe. I would want Araujo as my
afford
centre back.
Gyökeres?
I wouldn't mind a Kim Min Jae, even though he had bad performance. I would, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Is anyone in the Spurs lineup, by the way? Because Maddison's been benched.
Good.
I
He's
heard
shocking.
yeah, he's been awful lately.
Oh yeah, shit. 7:30. So means it's happening.
Is Lo Celso playing?
Yeah.
Is he? Oh, he's gonna score.
Guys,
No,
I've got
no,
to say,
this-
okay, this
no,
super
no,
chat's
no, it's not.
interesting.
We've got
This
Kulu
is,
in this.
I need this person to send me the links, and if no, this is true. But he says City's lawyers sent out letters of legal action to media personnel spreading propaganda. Goldfish, he means Goldbridge, got that message. Guilty parties wouldn't do this. Firstly, send me a link to this story so that's true. But are we saying that big, powerful entities have never threatened legal action against people, even when they're the guilty party? Are we acting like big parties have never done that before? Come on now. That's I mean, it could be a sign of innocence, but you've watched enough documentaries and read enough things. It's what these companies do, but I don't even know if it's true. Chelsea will lose today. The reason Tottenham will win is because they want to go to the Champions League, and also Tottenham will beat Liverpool and City. Come on, you gooners, is what Chike says here.
Where's this sudden confidence that they're going to beat us coming from, by the way?
We've conceded 7 goals in our last 2 games. Like, what?
It's opium, Tom.
Like,
drinking
no,
the
we're not good. We're not
they're
good
trying
at the
to-
minute.
they're
But
trying to
Tottenham are
pump
the
you
team that
guys up.
plays into our crap attacks hands in the sense that
Yeah,
you'll give us
Tom-
the space.
Yeah, Tom, it's Arsenal fans hoping on and wishing on a player. Like, yeah,
It's
to go
not
to Anfield.
about wishing. It's not about wishing. It's just we're just
There it is,
we're,
come on.
no.
It is
We're not.
Wednesday.
Look, we're wishing you well. And if you want me to wish you bad, in fact, let me wish you bad. Tottenham is going to lose all their next 3 games. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me at this point. That's what you want to hear. Tottenham lose and you lose badly. Chelsea beats you 4-0 today. Liverpool beats you 5-0, and then City comes and trounces you 6-0.
Yeah, cool.
And that's
Goal
how your
different.
season ends.
Yeah, that's all right.
That helps out their goal difference, doesn't it?
Double.
Yeah.
Do you know the one saving grace for
The
Tottenham
one thing for
is
me is my team wins all their 3 games. And
the
that's
one
it.
saving grace for Tottenham is that Man United aren't good enough to win enough of their last game, so we won't catch them in the league, because that would be the insult to injury. Because I stand by what I've said all season. Any member of the traditional top 6 that finishes behind Man United this year, with how bad our football is, you should be hanging your head in shame.
You're firing shots at only one club, Terry. Just say the
Yeah,
club.
for real. What are you trying to say
Say the
there?
club. We need
Do you know why Terry's doing this? Because Terry's
Say
the
Chelsea,
ultimate.
bro.
Terry
Say
right
Chelsea.
now is the ultimate cock in this title race situation. He's lucky Liverpool are out of it. Man City are fighting for it. Arsenal are fighting for it. He doesn't know what to do. Even right, the conversation was having with Spurs and Man City. You're in a very similar situation. Game week 37.
What do you mean? No, but we're not in a similar situation. I'll tell you as to why we're not. If Man United had a chance to win that game and be in the Champions League, I'd want to win the game 100%, because my club's progression and my club's ability to next season try and win one of the biggest trophies in the world I would take, and I said this maybe 2 months ago, we have no idea how good or bad Man United will be next year. We've seen lots of teams look crap, and then a year later, they become decent sides. And cup competition is very different from winning a league title. That can't happen within a year. So if Man United were in Tottenham's position and we had a chance of Champions League position with an opportunity to win it next year, I would want to beat Arsenal 110%. Our situation is us winning or losing doesn't change our season in any way, shape, or form. So there's nothing for us to gain.
Europa League?
Yeah, I think we'll make that anyway. But again, if it was a difference between getting European football and not getting European football, I'd probably want to win the game, if I'm being honest. I want to, because next season, if we're in the Europa League or even the Conference League, if we get a decent manager and we improve, we may have a chance of winning it. So I would never stop my team's progression or ability of winning a trophy to stop any of my rivals. That would never come into my head, like personally.
And you qualifying for like a top knockout tournament like the Champions League or even Europa League gives you a chance of attracting better players in the summer. Because, you know, like, so if Chelsea somehow makes it to, let's say, Europa League this season, right, with the way you are, you're what, a few points away from being, you can actually, if Chelsea wins all their games, I think they can actually be in Europa. You can attract certain type of players. But if you don't have those cup games in hand as well, and you're just challenging for the title in your league, it's hard to get a Victor Osimhen.
I mean, there are certain players that all of us are looking at. All our clubs are looking at Elise as an example. Now, Man United, in my opinion, still have the ability, because of the size of our club, the history of our club, to bring in a player like him. But if you're Tottenham, a lot of the things that Elise's camp have said all season is they really want Champions League football. So if next year Aston Villa go in for him and you go in for him, but Villa have Champions League football, that could be a deciding factor for a player. So for certain individuals. So yeah, I get what CB's saying. And by the way, it wasn't actually a dig at Chelsea. I'm just saying in general, the fact that Chelsea overall this season have probably played better football than Man United in terms of when you look at it on the eye, it's been better in my opinion. You being behind us is a madness, because our underlying metrics as a team, and whether Ten Hag lovers or not like this, we are in relegation form in terms of what we should have conceded versus what we should have scored. You look at our underlying metrics, we've been an awful team. So for anyone in our ballpark who spends similarly to us, one of the big boys in England and in Europe finishes behind us, the head's got to be hung in shame, bro, because it's a crazy one. This here says Duff, Lampard, Cole all joined Chelsea from lower Premier League teams and all able to play in Europe. It's mentality as well as experience they need. But what I would say, I want to get, I don't know if I'm completely right with this, but weren't all three internationals by that point as well, though? I know Ivan Toney's played a couple of international games, but I'd love to see that. And also Blackburn, when Damien Duff was playing for Blackburn, were not a bad side, you know. I don't believe they were. Maybe I got that wrong.
Lampard, Cole and Duff joined, they weren't 28, soon to be 29.
True. Chelsea need to stop looking for Champions League players. They won't be challenging in Europe for a while. It's a waste of their experience. But that's not true. Chelsea shouldn't not try and sign good players. That's just that notion. I'll defend Chelsea. That makes no sense. Imagine Todd Bowley going, right, guys, let's not try and sign any of the good players. Why would you have that logic, Robert? Come on now. I changed my previous statement. Chelsea should sign Ten Hag. He would suit you perfectly.
He's a winner. He's a winner, isn't he, Terry? He won your club a trophy.
He might win too.
Imagine if he wins. He's staying at United, isn't it?
Yeah. So, do you know what? That article made me laugh today. People are like, see, I told you, Terry. I said, but the reason I don't believe it is by the way it's written. Okay, so Ineos are doing all this stuff to try and fix the club, but they've briefed the media by saying, we'd like to get rid of Ten Hag, but the only reason we're keeping him is because it's too expensive to sack him and there's not a better replacement yet. That's a fucking ringing endorsement to start a rebuild under, isn't it? Like, we don't really want you, but I'm going to stay. Imagine you went home tonight, any of you, to your girlfriends. I assume you've all got girlfriends and wives, and you said, if I could get better than you, I would. Imagine what she'd do to you. Imagine what would happen, right? I just don't believe it. The statement doesn't ring true to me, but that's just my opinion. Losing to City is bad for Spurs. If you don't get results against Chelsea and Liverpool, you could be at risk of losing out on Europe entirely to Man United and Newcastle. Oh, yeah. If you lose like 3 or 4 of these games, can you imagine Spurs get no European football? That won't happen, though. That won't happen. United fans wishing we lose a game ain't a real fan. Yes, I get where you're coming from. But my reason for wanting Arsenal to win the league is because it protects part of Man United's lasting legacy. So I understand where you're coming from. Patrick, I thought Spurs finished I thought Spurs finished no B Arsenal this
above.
season.
You want to say above
Arsenal this season. Did you? I don't think Patty predicted that.
Never said that. I don't know if he's. I don't. Yeah, I'm not.
I think
sure
I think he's mixing you up with Will. Will was the one that said that.
Yeah, I've never said that.
Patrick and Will look alike, you know.
Yeah, the only thing Patrick said was that he'd put on an Arsenal jersey if we beat him.
Yes, and he will be doing that.
That's gonna happen, Dio. Don't worry, it's gonna be done.
I'm just gonna keep reminding you. That's all. Just
don't worry.
GK here says Villa will drop 6 points and Tottenham will catch up with them. Sorry, Chelsea, but this is Tottenham winning today. Come on, you Gooners. Tottenham, I'm betting on you like Tonali. Tonali's been banned longer, isn't he? He's been banned even longer. Listen, I appreciate that, GK. Look, I want to thank everyone that's tuned into the show today. We are going to be live after the game tonight, so make sure you're all back tuning in. This stream will take you through to that one. So like it, bookmark it. We'll go on live after the game. Thank you to all the panel that have been on today. Chesney, Gal, Dio. Rory was here for a brief second, then his internet went down. Chatty Patty, Henry Wright, Tom Little, CB as well. To all the super chatters, you're absolutely brilliant. And for everybody that scanned the QR code for Match Bingo, I want to thank you all. Go and check it out now. There's free cards for the Arsenal game to give away. There's cards still available for tonight's game. You've got about 45 minutes to get that done. But until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again soon.